Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Tracy Stroud. I'm the Apex Regional Innovation Network Manager, and I will be your MC for today's event. We welcome you to the Emissions Reduction Alberta Expanded Technologies Pilot. In partnership with Apex Alberta and our partners, Community Futures Entrecorp, Medicine Hat College, and Alberta Innovates. We hope you had no problems logging on today and registering for this event, and we're very happy to have all of you join us. We would like to take this time also to acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who are in and cared for these lands for many generations. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and those who have gone before us. We acknowledge and honor that we are situated on traditional lands of Treaty 7 and Treaty 4 territories, traditional lands of the Siksika, Blackfoot tribe, Kainai, the Blood tribe, Piikani, Pagan tribe, Stoney Nakoda, Tsuut'ina, Sarsi, as well as the Cree, Sioux, and the Saulteaux bands of the Ojibwa people. We also honor and acknowledge that we are on the homelands of the Métis Nation of Alberta within Region 3 territory. Thank you all again for joining us today. For those who are unfamiliar with Apex, we are the Regional Innovation Network that supports the growth of technology and knowledge-based businesses in Southeast Alberta. Apex is a collaborative initiative between three core service providers: Community Futures Entrecorp, Medicine Hat College, and Alberta Innovates. To learn more about Apex and the supports that we can provide for your new technology or innovation, please visit apexalberta.ca. I would now like to move on to just a few housekeeping items. Please note we are recording this session. A reminder that your controls are at the bottom of the panel as opposed to some virtual platforms that are usually at the top. To the right, you can ask general questions in the chat box, but we ask that if you have questions for the speakers that you put that in the Q&A section so we don't miss them. Also, our team is working behind the scenes of this event, so at any time, don't hesitate to message us with questions. All right, that's all the housekeeping items, and we have a very exciting event today. We're excited to share this new program, so let's get started. Emissions Reduction Alberta takes action on climate change and supports economic growth by investing in the pilot, demonstration, and deployment of clean technology solutions that reduce greenhouse gases, lower costs, attract investments, and create jobs in Alberta. Today, their team will be speaking on the Expanded Technologies Pilot Program, an extension of Emissions Reduction Alberta's Energy Savings for Business, or ESB for short, program. The Expanded Technologies Pilot Program offers new pathways for Alberta businesses to propose effective, commercially available technologies not currently supported through the ESB program that could offer higher returns on investment. Please welcome to the stage our Emissions Reduction Alberta speakers. Portia and your team, please come on up.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Sorry, I just want to double check. Can everyone see my slides, or is it a little funny? Okay, perfect. Great, amazing. Great, so thank you, Tracy, for having us today, and thank you to everyone joining our presentation. We're glad you can join us so we can share this great opportunity with you. We hope that today's discussion can help you take full advantage of this extension of the Energy Savings for Business program. My name is Portia Baldet, and I'm the Marketing Manager at Summerhill. Enerva and Summerhill are supporting Emissions Reduction Alberta with the design and execution program. I'm joined today by my colleagues Enerva's Stacey Cameron and ERA's Brittany Tran. Brittany, Stacey, and I will walk you through the Expanded Technologies Pilot and answer any questions you may have at the end of the presentation. Before we dive into our main topic, I'll provide a quick background on Emissions Reduction Alberta and review the Energy Savings for Business program. Then we'll go into the Expanded Technologies Pilot, eligibility, and the application process. We'll end the presentation with a Q&A. As a reminder, please feel free to send your questions through the platform's Q&A feature. We'll do our best to answer your questions at the end of the presentation. Let's get started. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions while supporting the economy benefits everyone. ERA's vision is anchored in the belief that our success is measured in both economic and environmental terms. Emissions Reduction Alberta has been investing in Alberta technologies and companies since 2009 to reduce emissions and grow Alberta's economy. Our investments help innovators develop and demonstrate GHG reducing technologies that lower costs, improve competitiveness, and accelerate Alberta's transformation towards decarbonization. We have worked across many sectors and have broadened our scope with the Energy Savings for Business program. This program accelerates the adoption of commercially available technologies that will help businesses cut costs and reduce emissions. These are extraordinary times, and the ESB program is one piece of the province's response to help businesses navigate the challenges they are facing. It's providing much-needed economic stimulus, help get people back to work, and demonstrate Alberta's continued commitment to being a leader in sustainable resources and energy use. We've developed the ESB program that builds on the lessons learned from a variety of similar programs previously delivered in Alberta. As such, we know that support for small and medium-sized businesses need to be streamlined and predictable in order to encourage participation. The program offers a simplified application process, quicker turnaround times, a large menu of technologies, comprehensive information about eligibility. To reflect the realities of the pandemic, incentive payments are made electronically, and all program materials are available in a digital downloadable format that can be easily printed by contractors or participants. We've received great interest in the ESB program. Since our launch last year, we've granted pre-approvals to over 1,300 projects worth over $24 million in incentives. Adaptive management has been key to this program. It has allowed us to pivot the design as needed to reach our desired outcomes. We've created some changes, including raising the incentive limits for parent companies from $500,000 to $1 million and extending the Energy Savings for Business program until March 31st, 2023. The ESB program features a comprehensive measures list with over 60 eligible technologies available. To see the full list, please see our eligible measures list on the program website. It provides a guide for all measure types, program requirements, and available incentive levels. We've also received many inquiries about technologies not available on the measures list. This type of feedback has led to the design of the Expanded Technologies Pilot, an expansion of the ESB program. Brittany and Stacy will now jump in to walk us through this extension.
Thanks, Portia. As you just saw, the ESB program measures list is extensive, but we know that Albertans are innovative and the efficiency world is always evolving and driving new ideas and technologies. That's why Emissions Reduction Alberta has introduced the new Expanded Technologies Pilot, which we launched on December 1st, 2021. The ETP offers a new pathway for Alberta businesses to propose effective, commercially available technologies that aren't currently supported through ESB that are able to offer high returns on investment and emissions reductions. Applying to the Expanded Technologies Pilot will give ERA an opportunity to learn more about your technology. As a reminder, all approved projects must be constructed and participants must submit their post-project applications by March 31st, 2023. Depending on the length of your project, you'll have to determine how long you need to construct and submit the application. For example, if you require a year to construct your project, you need to have your project approval in by March 31st, 2022. If successful, businesses will receive funding of up to $250,000 per EOI submitted to help cover 50% of eligible expenses. Please be aware that proposed projects have a minimum of $10,000 in eligible expenses. The lead applicant and the project partners can also access up to $1 million in total incentives through both the ESB program and the ETP pilot. To make the best use of funding available and support a broad range of technology system types, ERA will only fund one project at the full project proposal stage of each technology type, with the following exception. Subsequent projects at the EOI stage will be considered if they demonstrate that the technology system is significantly different at a different scale, under different operating parameters, in a different operating environment, or have a different utilization purpose such that the GHG reductions, energy savings, or business case outcomes are significantly different. The funded projects will be posted to our website, so you can see them there, or you can feel free to reach out to us to learn more. Please note that funding will not be awarded on a first-come, first-served basis like ESB. These types of projects will be evaluated and reviewed as they are submitted, and funding will be issued to successful applicants. Before we dive into the application process, I'd like to go over a few terms that you'll hear throughout this webinar and some of the eligibility requirements. You'll also find these in our program materials. So when we refer to the lead applicant, we're referring to the main lead on the project. This is the person that will be the primary contact for ERA and the sole signatory of the contribution agreement, which means they are responsible for ensuring compliance with the ETP terms. The project partner, on the other hand, is a company that is helping complete the project. For example, if the technology provider is the lead applicant and they are installing their product in 2 buildings, one an office building and a second the multi-residential building, the office building owner would be one project partner and the multi-residential building owner would be a second project partner. The eligibility for both the lead applicant and the project partner are the same, and it's similar to ESB. This includes a business that is privately owned with 50% or less funding from a public authority. And the facility refers to the location where the technology will be installed. The facility must be located in Alberta and used solely for commercial or industrial purposes. The facility owner must be listed in the application as either the lead applicant or a project partner. Lastly, the technology system is the proposed technology or product that reduces emissions. So the technology system must be a commercialized technology that is a retrofit or upgrade with emissions reductions below $200 per ton. And we'll go over that a little bit more in the next slide. You can find more details about the eligibility in the ETP guidelines that are available on our website. So we encourage you to read more into those as well. So we wanted to provide one example of how to determine whether your technology is eligible based on the emissions reductions. This is something we've been getting lots of questions on. So the abatement rate of your technology must have reductions less than $200 per ton of CO2. The abatement rate is the cost for ERA to reduce or prevent emissions. So for example, if you have a project with total project costs of $600,000, your total funding request could be up to $250,000, which is our project cap at the EOI. And if your project is expected to last for 10 years and saves 1,000 tons of CO2 per year, this would be 10,000 tons over the project life, because that would be 1,000 tons per year times the 10 years of the project life. And then the calculation is the total funding request over the total tons of CO2 over the project life. So for this specific example, that would be the $250,000 in the funding request over the 10,000 tons of CO2 over the project life. So this would equal $25 per ton, which is well under the $200 per ton and would be eligible for the program. So a few application tips with this. Please be sure to include the technology lifetime in your EOI and FPP submissions. This is really helpful when we're looking at these types of calculations. And feel free to reach out if you have any more questions, or there's more guidance in the guidelines as well for you to take a look at. So I'll hand it off now to Stacy, who will take us through the application journey.
Thank you, Brittany. There are 3 stages of the application process: the expression of interest, the full project proposal, and the project execution. To get started, please visit the ERIMS or ERIMS platform. Click on Register in the top right-hand corner and fill out your name, email address, and verification code. Once registered, using the ETP guidelines and the instructions in the EOI template provided in red text, complete the EOI application. Then submit your EOI application through ERIMS. If you have any questions or require guidance through this process, please reach out to our Application Assist team. We will go over how you can get started with Application Assist later in the presentation. The EOI will be evaluated on a pass or fail basis. I will go into this more on the next slide as well. If sufficient information is not provided, we may ask follow-up questions for clarification or ask you to resubmit based on the feedback provided. If approved, you will receive a request to provide a full project proposal, which will also be submitted through the ERIMS platform. After you submit the FPP, a committee of experts will review the application. and evaluate according to the criteria stated in the guidelines. Once the proposal has been evaluated, you will receive either a notice with a contribution agreement or a decision letter explaining why the project was not selected for funding. If approved, you will have up to 12 months to complete and submit your post-project application. Post-project documentation will be submitted to and approved by ERA. All projects will also require either a virtual or in-person site visit as part of the review and verification process. Site visit process is also described in the guidelines. Once verified, payment will be initiated and completed. To learn more about the Expanded Technologies pilot, please visit our program website at eraalberta.ca/ESB and click on Expanded Technologies Pilot in the secondary menu. This page has a number of helpful resources, including the ETP guidelines, the expression of interest document, and the full project proposal document. We encourage you to download and review these files prior to applying, as they outline the application journey and the information that the ETP team will be looking for during their evaluations. The webpage also includes helpful FAQs and an email to reach our ETP team. I do want to note that the documents were recently updated, so if you have downloaded them prior to yesterday, February 7th, please make sure that you download the newest versions. For those of you familiar with the ESB program, the Expanded Technologies pilot registration and application submission will be on a different platform. This is the eRIMS platform. The EOI is intended to be a simple application where we can learn more about you and your project. It is only 5 pages so that we can learn enough to see if you are a good fit prior to you filling out the more detailed evaluation and calculations in the FPP. Unlike an ESB where incentives are set, the ETP are set. For ETP, the applicant will provide ERA with the funding amount that they are requesting for the project. When you are deciding on the funding request, keep in mind that it should correspond to the project budget and size, the return on investment, and the GHG reductions. For example, if you have a great project with a high ROI and significant reductions, the requested amount should correspond to that. We will then review the EOI for eligibility and evaluate according to the criteria stated in the guidelines on a pass or fail basis. Projects will be evaluated on a points basis under the following criteria: participant eligibility, facility and project eligibility, project timelines, project budget and funding, GHG reductions and additional benefits, and market potential. In the evaluation, we make sure that you and the proposed project are eligible. We will also determine whether technology is a fit with ETP, meaning, is it replicable, is there a market for it, and does it reduce the minimum GHGs required? The FPP is aimed at getting a more complete picture and further details about the technology system, including the base case and proposed technology GHG reduction quantifications, cost effectiveness, technology potential, and work plan details. Full project proposals will be evaluated by a committee of 3 to 4 experts and will be reviewed and evaluated as they are submitted. Funding will only be issued to successful applicants. Projects will be evaluated on a points basis under the following criteria: technology description, technology potential, funding request and narrative, and project management. At the end of the FPP is the partner acknowledgement form. Please make sure that all of your project partners sign this prior to submitting the FPP. This is to confirm that they are aware of the project and the pilot. Once your FPP is evaluated and approved, the contribution agreement will be completed and you can begin project implementation. To help you with any questions you may have, we also offer an application assist service. Here's how it works. First, reach out to our contact center team and let them know that you'd like to connect with the application assist team or the ETP team. The team will help you with questions on the guidelines, the EOI, or FPP applications. Then, once you are ready, you can submit your application. I'm now going to pass it over to Portia, who will moderate our Q&A session.
All right, thanks, Stacey. So if you have any questions about the Expanded Technologies pilot, now is your time to ask. If we don't get to your question today, you can also submit it to our ETP team at etp@esbprogram.ca, and and one of our team members will be happy to respond to you one-on-one. We'll also be within the event space after the presentation, so you feel free to find any one of our team members, and we'll do our best to help you. So joining us today, we also have Myron Shikantha, who is part of the Nerva Summerhill team. Myron, can you join us on this? Might be a little bit of technical difficulties, but Myron is also part of the program, and he'll be able to answer any questions that you may have. All right, perfect. Right, so let's take a look at these questions. So our first question is, we have had this product tested by Ryerson University to confirm effectiveness. Can it be approved without actually running a test project? Brittany, can you take on this question?
Thanks for that. Yeah, so part of our eligibility requirements are that the technology that's being submitted is a commercialized product, sorry. So as long as it kind of meets the definition of commercialized, which is that anyone in the market can purchase it, it's available kind of broadly anywhere, and I don't know if you know much about the TRL levels, but at ERA, we use those a lot in our calls. So the TRL at the technology readiness level has to be above 9. So that means that it's commercialized technology. So if the project is still in the research and development or testing phase, it wouldn't be eligible.
Perfect. Stacey, do you have anything to add to that?
Covered it perfectly.
Perfect. Perfect, thank you. Our next question is, could I invite a technology partner from overseas? Brittany?
Yeah, you can have a technology partner from overseas. Our main kind of location requirement, I guess, is that the facility has to be located in Alberta. So the technology has to be installed in Alberta for the entire lifetime of that technology. So it has to be in our province, but you can have partners from outside of the province or internationally.
Perfect, thanks, Brittany. I think one of the other questions that we expected to receive today is, can applicants submit multiple EOIs? Stacey, can you answer that?
So at this moment, we are doing more of one EOI per technology. So if it was a case where, it's one project being installed in 4 different facilities, those can be done on one single EOI. If this is a case where maybe the technology partner is doing, the technology provider is doing a more than one type of technology that are different from each other and things like that, then we would be looking at potentially 2 EOIs for that provider.
All right, thanks, Stacey. Another question that I think we'll probably hear a lot of, or we've received in the past, is who should submit the application? Is it the client, or is it going to be the contractor submitting the application? Brittany?
Yeah, so it's a little bit different than kind of ESB that way, where you have the client and the contractor. There could be multiple different technology and service providers or different folks that would be interested in submitting an application. So we kind of recommend that whoever is the main point on the project would be the best person. They would be the person that would sign the contribution agreement as well. So that's the person that's kind of taken the main lead on the project. So kind of as Stacey said before with the multiple EOIs, if you're a technology provider and you have multiple facilities, you would be the best one to submit the application. And then your facility owners would be your project partners. That would work the best. But if you are a business owner and you're just wanting to install one technology, you can feel free to submit the EOI yourself for your project as well.
Perfect, thanks. Thanks, Brittany. Our next question is, if we have a project but the lead time from the supplier to have it constructed, delivered, and commissioned is past March 2023, is there an extension process available? Brittany, can you also take on this question?
Yeah, sounds good. Unfortunately not. We're trying to give people as much time as we possibly can, but March 2023 is a hard deadline for us. So the project does have to be completed by then and submit the post-project documentation. The one piece that I would like to add on this is if you are doing one part of the project, I know if you're constructing a whole kind of building and then you're doing one project and that one piece of the project is submitted under ESB, as long as that one piece is done by then, that would be eligible. And then you can continue the rest of your construction project later if it's not part of the program. So whatever kind of pieces are available, whatever pieces of the program are within that timeline are eligible. And then you can always finish your kind of finalizing your construction at the end after that. Hopefully that makes sense.
I think that makes sense. So basically within your whole entire project, it might go beyond March 2023, but as long as the part that's eligible under the ESB or the ETP, it has to be finished by March 2023.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. All right. The next question is, could an applicant be a Canadian non-resident? Stacey, would you have this answer?
So kind of related to an overseas project partner, the facility itself must be in Alberta. Whether the project partners are physically in Alberta or not is a different question. So as long as the facility is in Alberta and the technology being installed there will remain in Alberta, then it would still be eligible.
All right. Thanks, Stacey. Our next question is, in regards to the primary applicant, can we ensure that the rebate is issued to a partner or is it only issued to the primary applicant? Stacey, can you take on this question as well?
As of right now, and Brittany, please correct me if I misspeak on this, the primary applicant will be receiving the rebate, however that can be divided out between the applicants however they wish.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be providing it to the lead applicants. So that's part of them being the sole signatory on the contribution agreement. And then how they want to kind of divide that up is up to them.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Hi, Mary.
Yeah, there was just a question about the non-resident applying. So if you go on the ETP guidelines, there is some specific eligibility around an applicant. Essentially, an applicant has to be what is considered something called a person. And a person in this case is, I believe, a Canadian business. So you can be a non-resident, but it's a business that is applying for the incentive. So the business, I believe, would have to have some kind of incorporation in Canada. If you want to ask some more detailed questions about that, please send us an email and we can follow up.
All right. Perfect. Thanks, Myron. Just to recap that any questions that you have today that haven't been answered during this Q&A period or after the event, our team will be in the event space and we'll be happy to talk to you. But if any questions, your question isn't answered, please reach out to our ETP team. We'll have the contact information on the next slide. Right, perfect. And I think out of curiosity, Brittany, can you give us an idea of the types of projects that you've seen come across our desk, the metaphorical desk so far?
Yeah, we've gotten lots of interest in the program so far. So we've seen things like carbon capture, diesel to natural gas conversions, a lot of different agricultural type technologies with feed pushers. And there's been some other kind of farming, like vertical farming stuff. And yeah, so we're really excited to kind of learn more about what technologies are out there that we can learn more about and potentially implement into a future initiative like this one.
Perfect. Sounds interesting. Thanks, Brittany. And then I think our last question for Q&A period is, how long does the EOI review take? Stacey, can you take on that question?
Right now, we are doing the EOI review batches. So it does kind of depend on precisely when it is submitted versus when we do the review for that month. But we are trying to keep within a 2 to 6 weeks kind of deadline sort of thing is what you might be able to expect.
Right. Perfect. Thanks, Stacy. All right. Great. So again, here is our contact information. If you're looking to get in touch with the ETP team, you can email them at ecp@esbprogram.ca. You can also reach out to our contact center team by phone or through chat on the ERA website. The website again is eralberta.ca/ESB. Just please let them know that you're inquiring about the EC program so they can forward your questions to the right team member. So thank you for joining our presentations today, and thank you to Apex Alberta for having us. I'm going to pass it back to Tracy for final remarks.
Thank you so much, Portia, Stacy, Brittany, and Myron for speaking on the Expanded Technologies Pilot Program today. Again, really excited about that program, and as can be seen from the attendance today, we have a lot of other people that are excited about it too. And I want to thank everyone today for joining us as well. We hope you enjoyed this session and found it informative. And we hope that you stay connected to us for future events. So please head to apexalberta.ca and visit our events section to find out what's upcoming, and also sign up for our newsletter to be informed of the latest innovation news in Southeast Alberta. And as Portia mentioned, we invite you to stay and network. So we're going to keep the networking portion open for the next 25 minutes. So lots of time. If you still have questions, please go to table 1. Our speakers will be there, and they can answer those one-on-one. Well, I guess 6-on-1. There's a table there for all of them, and they'll be happy to do that. Thank you again. We hope you enjoyed your session, and have a good afternoon.